We're coming to you today live from Lower Manhattan. We're just a couple of blocks away from the World Trade Center site, which is still empty. I mean, every time I pass it, I don't come down to this part of Manhattan for a reason, because every time I pass it, it makes me think to myself, who are we that we can't get this done? And behind me is the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island, which I want to talk to Governor Palin about Ellis Island here in a minute. But first, I want to have a conversation with you about things that I think about 3% of this nation is afraid of, and the rest of us get it. And that's God, and the role that God plays in our country, the role that God plays in your personal life. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, that 3% who may be afraid to acknowledge or talk about God will be the 3% that mock what I have to say next, and they happen to be the loud mockers, though. So be prepared for what I say about God, that there is nothing more important in my life than my relationship with God, than my faith. And in this past year, especially, past year and a half, I have been so driven to my knees to pray for His guidance, for His wisdom, for His grace, and for His strength. And I'm never going to tell anybody else how to live. I'm never going to preach to anybody else and tell them, you must do that. But I sure would like to see more Americans give it a try and seek that guidance that our founding fathers sought, and were able to craft documents then that allowed America to become the greatest, strongest, healthiest, most prosperous nation on this earth.
You know, announced today on the radio, and I guess I should announce it here too, I'm going to be the keynote speaker at CPAC this year in a few weeks. And what I'm going to talk about there is the conservatives. We just have to not be afraid to say what we are, and we have to define what we believe in God. Because I don't know. I mean, I know some people who are like, I'm going to baptize all the brothers for Jesus. That's great and everything. You go your own way. But that's not the role of government.
No.
I don't care if, as long as you're not harming society, whatever. But I happen to believe, and so did the founders, although Thomas Paine, we believe, was an atheist, God played an essential role in the founding of this nation. And it seems to me the farther we get away from that notion, the more trouble we get into.
Yeah, and it's not just us thinking and hoping that God played a role in, as they sought divine inspiration for those words in our documents that allowed America to be, but it's factual. And we have proof, and we have the documents, and we have the writings of our founding fathers and founding mothers who so believed that this country, being dedicated to God, to doing good for mankind and seeking His wisdom, we would be a blessed country. And so many of us today believe, okay, that hasn't changed, but are we doing our part to keep it going?
Let me ask you this, and maybe we can both self-destruct here.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I do is because I believe that there are going to be eternal ramifications for anybody who sees it. And it goes back to Ezekiel, where there are a lot of watchmen on the tower. And if you see it and you don't warn others, you're in trouble. We have rights, don't come from Congress, they come from God. If we lose those rights, do you believe we'll be held, each individual, if you didn't stand to protect the rights for future generations and protect liberty? Do you believe you'll be held eternally responsible?
I do believe that we have that responsibility here, and we do have, I believe that there are eternal ramifications based on what we do here.
Does it motivate you?
It motivates me. It does. It allows me to know that what I do, it's not about me, and it's not even about my children's future. It is longer lasting than that.
How many times, this is how sad this is, because I've sat in your chair and been asked questions similar to this, and I walk out and I say the same thing to my crew. I can't tell you how many times I thought in my head, be careful, watch it, careful, careful, careful. How many times just now did you think that? Because you know there are people just laying in wait to get you to say something.
Well, of course, in the back of my mind, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. It's going to hit you too, Glenn, once this show airs, even that the topic was even discussed. So, you know, we just brace ourselves. But so be it. There are a lot of important things going on in this world right now, and I think that if we were to hesitate and hunker down and not say what we believe, we're going to be part of that system that so many Americans are losing faith in. I'm not going to be a part of that.
That is where I want to go next with Sarah Palin. Hang on.